Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to the VUS Learning English Podcast. My name is Anna, and I am so happy you are here with me today. If this is your first time listening, a very special welcome to you. We are so glad to have you in our family. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. It is always a joy to spend this time with you. Today, we are going to talk about something amazing. We will talk about your brain, your wonderful, powerful brain, and we will learn how we can make our minds stronger and happier. This is a safe space for you. It is a calm place to learn English and to feel good. So please relax, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. Thank you so much for choosing to be here today. Your time is a gift, and I am grateful for it. Before we start, I have a small question for you. Where are you listening from today? Are you in the United States or Ethiopia? Maybe you are in Sri Lanka or in Ukraine. You can be anywhere in the world, and we are all here together. That is a beautiful thing. If you enjoy our time together, please think about subscribing to our channel. Or you can give this episode a like. When you press the like button, it tells the internet that this is a good podcast. It helps other English learners just like you to find us. It is a small click for you, but it means the world to us. Thank you, my friend. Now, are you ready? Let's talk about the magic inside your head. Section 1. The Ancient Hack. The story of the reading brain. You are listening to my voice right now. You can understand the words I am saying. This feels easy. It feels natural, like breathing air, in and out. But I want to tell you a secret. Understanding language is a quiet miracle. It is a special power that you have. And reading is even more amazing. When you see words on a page, something magical happens. The meaning of the words just blossoms in your mind. It opens up like a flower. In those few seconds, your brain did something incredible. It did something it was never, ever designed to do. You see, reading is not a natural ability. It is not like seeing or hearing. We are not born with a special part in our brain just for reading. There is no reading gene inside us. So how can we read? How is this possible? The answer is that your brain is very, very smart. It is incredibly adaptable. Your brain can change. It can learn new things. A long time ago, our ancestors created something new. It was a few thousand years ago. In the long, long story of humans, this is just a tiny moment, like one drop of water in a big ocean. Our ancestors invented a new technology. This technology was so powerful, it changed our minds forever. That technology was writing. Before writing, our world was very different. Let's imagine that world together. Picture a world with no books, no letters, no signs on the street, no written words at all. That world was real for most of human history, for thousands and thousands of years. In that world, everything a person knew had to be in their head. All knowledge was inside human memory. And human memory is like a fragile glass cup. It can break. It can forget. History was not in a book. History was a long poem. People would sit around a fire, and one person would tell the story of their people. A promise was not a written paper. A promise was words spoken in front of others. People had to remember that promise. Knowledge was like smoke. It passed from one person to the next. It could change. It could be lost. When a person died, their knowledge could die with them, gone forever. This was a very heavy job for the human mind. The mental load was huge. People had to remember so much, so much. Cultures had to find clever tricks. Tricks to help people remember. They used rhyme. They used rhythm. Like in a song, they used stories. Think of great old poems like the Iliad and the Odyssey. They were not just stories for fun. They were like encyclopedias. They were big books of information, but they were spoken. They were set to a beat to make them easy to remember. But this system had a limit. A person can only remember so much. Humanity needed something more. We needed a place to store our knowledge. We needed an external hard drive, like a computer has a hard drive. Then something amazing happened. It happened about 5,000 years ago in a place called Mesopotamia. People started to make marks on wet clay. At first, the marks were just simple pictures. A picture of barley meant a measure of barley. It was a way to count things, an accounting system. But then a giant leap happened, a revolutionary idea. The symbols started to mean more than just things. The symbols started to represent sounds, the sounds of speaking. This was the invention of cuneiform writing, and soon after, Egyptian hieroglyphs. This was maybe the most important invention in all of human history. Writing allowed us to take our memories out of our heads. It let us give our thoughts a physical form. We could make our ideas permanent. We could carry them. We could share them across long distances and across time. But this created a big problem for our brains, a biological problem. 5,000 years is a very short time in evolution. It is not enough time for our brains to grow a new part for reading. So how did we learn to do it? How can we read? The answer is a beautiful idea from neuroscience. It is called the neuronal recycling hypothesis. That is a very long name, I know. Neuronal recycling hypothesis. Let's break it down. Neuronal means about the neurons in our brain. Neurons are tiny brain cells. Recycling means to use something old in a new way. So the idea is simple. Our brain does not need to grow a new part for a new skill. It just reuses or recycles the parts it already has. Your brain is like a creative artist. It takes old things and makes new, wonderful things with them. Let me give you an example. Imagine a big, thick forest. There are no paths in the forest. You want to get from one side to the other. The first time, it is very hard. You have to push through the trees and plants. It is slow. It is difficult. But what if you walk the same way every single day? Slowly, you start to make a small trail. The ground becomes flat. The plants move away. After many days, the trail becomes a path. It gets wider. It gets clearer. It is easier and faster to walk. Eventually, that path can become a big, wide road, a superhighway. This is what happens inside your brain. This is a big idea called neuroplasticity. Neuro for brain. Plasticity for changeable. Your brain is changeable. There's a famous saying in neuroscience. Neurons that fire together wire together. This means when you use certain brain cells together again and again, they build a strong connection. They build a path. They build a superhighway. Every time you learn something new, you are changing your brain. You are like a surgeon performing a tiny operation on your own mind. You are building new roads. So, when we invented reading, which parts of the brain did we recycle? Scientists can use special machines to look inside our brains. These brain scans give us a clear map. When you read, a whole network of paths lights up in your brain. It is like a city at night. So many lights. But one area is the star of the show. It is the most important part for reading. It is called the visual word form area. Let's say that name slowly. Visual, word, form, area. We can call it the VWFA for short. The VWFA is a small part of your brain. It is on the left side, on the underside of your brain. And what is so amazing is its original job, the job it had for millions of years before we learned to read. This part of your brain was an expert at recognizing objects. It helped you know that a cup is a cup. It doesn't matter if you see the cup from the top or the side or the bottom. Your brain knows it is a cup. This part helped with that. It was also very good at recognizing faces. When our ancestors invented writing, they created little shapes. We call them letters. These shapes were a perfect new job for the VWFA. The VWFA was already good at recognizing shapes. So when a child learns to read this part of their brain, the VWFA starts to change. It was a general expert for objects and faces. Now it becomes a special expert for letters. It learns to see the letters of your language very, very fast, lightning fast. Your brain recycled this part. It gave it a new, very important job. Isn't that amazing? Your brain is so clever. But this recycling might have a small cost. The VWFA is very close to the parts of the brain that see faces. Some scientists think there is some competition, a little fight for brain space. As a person gets better and better at reading, that part of the brain, the VWFA, might become a little less active for seeing faces. It is like the brain cells have a new, very busy job, the job of reading. But the VWFA does not work alone. It is like the front door of a big factory. It receives the letters. Once the VWFA recognizes the letters, it acts like a mail carrier. It sends the information very fast along those neural superhighways. It sends the information to older parts of the brain. It connects to the parts of your brain for hearing, the auditory centers. This helps you connect the symbol CAT with the sound of the word cat. Then it connects to big, wide networks in your brain. The parts that understand meaning, the parts that understand grammar, the parts that put the whole story together. This whole process is like a beautiful symphony. So many parts working together perfectly. Your eyes see the letters. The VWFA recognizes the letters. The information flies across your brain to the language centers. And suddenly you have meaning. You have an idea, you have a story. It all happens so fast, you don't even notice it. It feels effortless. This is the ancient hack. The amazing trick our brains learned to do. We took a brain system made for seeing the physical world and we repurposed it to see a world of ideas. We built a new circuit in our brains, a circuit for deep thinking, for focused thinking, for following one idea for a long time. For 5,000 years, this reading brain was our greatest tool. It was our superpower. Until now, because today, a new hack is happening. A new rewiring of our brains is taking place, and this time, it is training our brain for something very, very different. Section 2. The new hack. The age of the scrolling brain. For thousands of years, having a reading brain was a huge advantage. It was a cognitive upgrade, like getting a better, faster computer for your mind. Reading books was like going to the gym for your brain. When you read deeply, you train your mind. You train it to focus. You train it to think logically. You train it to understand big, complex ideas. But in the last 15 years, something new has appeared. A new technology. This technology is so powerful. It is starting another big change in the human brain, another mass rewiring. But this time, the hack is different. It was not designed by us, for us. It was designed by other people, often for profit. And it is happening to us. I am talking about your smartphone and the social media feed, the endless scrolling. A book and a smartphone are very different tools, and they create very different brains. Think about a book. A book is a tool for a deep dive, like a scuba diver going deep into the ocean. A smartphone is a tool for shallow skipping, like a stone skipping across the surface of the water. Let's look at their design. The way they are made tells us everything. A book is finite. This means it has a start and an end. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A book asks you to follow one long idea, a single, sustained line of thought. You must read chapter 1, then chapter 2, then chapter 3. You cannot understand chapter 5 if you did not read the chapters before it. The whole design of a book is made for one purpose: focus, deep concentration. Now think about your social media feed on your phone. Does it have a beginning? No. Does it have a middle? No. Does it have an end? No, it never ends. It is an infinite scroll. Infinite means it goes on forever. This design is on purpose. It is made to make you feel like you are never finished. It is made to keep you swiping, keep you scrolling. The content is not one single line of thought. It is not a straight road. It is like a confetti cannon, a big explosion of small, colorful, unrelated things. One moment, you see a sad story about the news. The next moment, you see a funny video of a dancing cat. Then you see an advertisement for new shoes. Then an angry political post. Then beautiful photos from a friend's vacation. It is not a line of thought. It is a storm of feelings, a storm of emotional triggers. This design, this architecture of distraction is not an accident. It is not a mistake. It is the result of a very rich industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry. And it is fighting for one thing: your attention. Think about the pull to refresh action. When you pull down on the screen to see new things, this was designed to be like a slot machine in a casino. You pull the lever. You don't know what you will get. Maybe something exciting, maybe nothing. This unpredictable reward is very powerful. It can create a habit. It can create an addiction. Every time you get a like on your photo, every time someone shares your post, your brain gets a tiny little hit of pleasure. This pleasure comes from a chemical in your brain. The chemical is called dopamine. Now, dopamine is very interesting. People often call it the pleasure molecule, but that is not the whole story. It is more like the motivation molecule. Dopamine is the chemical that makes you want things. It drives you to seek rewards. It makes you curious. It makes you search. The unpredictable nature of these little digital rewards, the likes, the comments, the new posts, it creates a very strong habit loop in your brain. Your brain learns a simple rule. If I flick my thumb on this screen, I might get a nice feeling, a little surprise. So your brain starts to want that. It starts to crave it. This is why you might find yourself reaching for your phone. The moment you feel a little bit bored, the moment there is quiet, your brain has been trained. It has learned that the phone is the cure for quiet. It is the cure for boredom. It has become a habit in your brain, a neurological habit. So what does this do to our brain? What does this constant, fragmented, dopamine-driven storm of information due to our deep reading circuits. Those wonderful paths we built for reading books. It starts a war, a quiet war inside your head. Remember neuroplasticity? The paths you use get stronger, and the paths you do not use get weaker. They fade away, like an old path in the forest that no one walks on. Deep reading builds the muscle for long, focused attention. Sustained, linear attention. But the digital world does the opposite. It rewards very fast, quick attention. It rewards switching from one task to another. Task switching. It trains your brain to skim, to look quickly over the surface of information. It trains you to hunt for keywords, to get the main idea, the gist, in just a few seconds, and then jump to the next thing. This creates a state in our mind that some people call shallow processing. Shallow is the opposite of deep, like shallow water. When we're in this state, we are not thinking deeply about information. We are not engaging with it. We are just bouncing across the surface. We are not building a strong, connected house of knowledge in our minds. We are just collecting little disconnected pieces of data, like collecting pretty rocks on a beach. Even the act of reading on a screen can make deep thinking harder. Studies show that it puts a bigger cognitive load on our brains. It makes our brains work harder just to understand the same information compared to reading on paper. This can also lead to something called cognitive offloading. This means we let our devices do the thinking for us. We offload our mental work onto our technology. For example, when you know that information is always just a quick search away, when you know you can always Google it again, your brain does not work as hard to remember it. Why should I memorize the details? I can just look them up later. This is a phenomenon called digital amnesia. Amnesia means to forget. We remember less because our brain has learned that it does not have to. We have outsourced our memory to our phones, and the neural pathways for memory, the roads in our brain for remembering, they can start to get weaker. They can start to fade. And what about multitasking? The idea that we can do many things at the same time. Well, I have some news for you. Multitasking is a neurological myth. It is not real. Your brain cannot actually focus on two difficult things at the exact same time. It just switches between them. Very, very fast. Switch, switch, switch. Every time you switch from writing a report to checking an email to answering a text message, your brain has to pay a price. It costs mental energy. It is like a small tax on your attention. This constant switching also stops you from ever getting into a state of deep focus. That wonderful feeling of being in the zone. Your brain adapts to this new way of working. It gets better and better at switching, but it gets worse and worse at monotasking. Mono means one. Monotasking is the art of doing one thing, the art of sustained concentration. The constant stimulation of the digital world is actively training you. It is training you to be distractible. It is training your brain for a new job, the job of scrolling. Section 3. The consequence? A tale of two brains. So, there is a battle happening. A tug of war inside our own heads. This neurological battle is creating a conflict. We are all living with two competing brains now, two different versions of our mind. First, there is the deep reading brain. This is the brain we inherited from the world of books and paper. Second, There is the shallow scrolling brain. This is the brain that is being built day by day by the digital world. Understanding the difference between these two brains is very important. It helps us understand what we might be losing. What is at stake? Let's look at the deep reading brain first. This brain is patient. It is calm. It was built by reading books, by following the slow, logical steps of an argument or a story. This brain has stamina, like a long-distance runner. It has the energy to follow a complex idea from the beginning to the end. The deep reading brain is analytical. It can hold many different ideas in the mind at the same time. It can compare them. It can see how they connect. It can build a big, coherent picture of the world. This is the brain that can understand nuance. Nuance means the small, subtle differences in ideas. It sees the world not just in black and white, but in many shades of gray. It can handle complexity. The deep reading brain is also the brain of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and feel what another person is feeling. Neurological studies of the brain, show us something amazing. When we read rich, descriptive stories, like in a good novel, our brains act as if we are living the story. Our brains simulate the feelings and the problems of the characters. Reading stories trains us to understand the inner lives of other people. It helps us walk in someone else's shoes. The deep reading brain is an empathetic brain. Now let's look at the other brain, the shallow scrolling brain. This brain is impatient. It is restless. It has been trained by the infinite scroll, the endless feed of new things. It craves constant novelty. It always wants something new, now. This brain has no stamina for long arguments. It has no patience for complex ideas. It gets bored very easily. It gets antsy and nervous if it does not get a new piece of information every few seconds. The main skill of this brain is not deep analysis. Its main skill is rapid pattern recognition. This means it is very good at quickly looking at a lot of information to find something interesting. It is great for sifting through data to get a quick gist or summary. But this brain has very little ability for deep thought. Its first reaction is not to analyze. Its first reaction is to react. Like, share, get angry, laugh, and move on to the next thing. It is a brain that is optimized for impulse, not for reflection. It is a brain that acts first and thinks later. So what happens when we make the shallow brain stronger and stronger and the deep brain weaker and weaker? The results are becoming very clear, and they are alarming. First, we see the erosion of critical thinking. Erosion is like the slow washing away of soil. Critical thinking is our ability to think clearly and carefully about information, to question it, to check it. A very important study was done in 2018 at a university called MIT. The study looked at Twitter, a social media platform. It found that false news, or fake news, spread much, much more than the truth. The study found that falsehoods diffused significantly farther, faster, deeper, and more broadly than the truth. A popular summary of this study is that fake news spreads 6 times faster than true news. 6 times. Why does this happen? It is not just because of the computer algorithms. It is also because of our brains. The scrolling brain is perfect for fake news. When we are processing information in a shallow way, we are less likely to stop and ask questions. We are less likely to check the source. We are less likely to do the hard work of thinking carefully. we are more likely to believe emotional headlines because the scrolling brain runs on impulse and emotion. The second consequence is a problem with memory and understanding. Research again and again shows the same thing. When people read on screens, they remember fewer details. They understand less deeply compared to reading the same thing on paper. Have you ever had this experience? You read a whole long article on your phone, and then 1 hour later, you cannot remember it very well. You can maybe remember the headline, but the details are gone. They have vanished. This happens because the deep encoding process is skipped. Encoding is the process of moving information from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. It is like saving a file on your computer's hard drive. The shallow scrolling brain uses a different cycle. It is a scan and forget cycle. You scan the information quickly and then you forget it. The information never gets saved properly. The third consequence is perhaps the most serious, the most devastating. It is the erosion of empathy. Remember how the deep reading brain builds empathy by letting us live inside the mind of another person in a story? Well, the shallow brain can do the opposite. It can weaken our empathy. On social media, people are often not real people. They are just a small picture, an avatar. They are just a short comment with no context, no background story. This makes it easier to dehumanize other people, to see them as less than human. It makes it easier to get angry at them, to join in online mobs. Some research suggests that using social media a lot is connected to less activity in the parts of the brain that are important for empathy. We might be training ourselves day by day to be less able to feel for each other. Now, my friend, listen to me closely. If you are hearing all of this and you feel a little bit of anxiety, if you feel a knot in your stomach, if you are thinking to yourself, yes, my attention span is shorter now, or yes, I find it so hard to focus on a book anymore, I need you to hear this very important message. It is not your fault. Let me say that again. It is not your fault. You are not lazy. You are not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what it is designed to do. It is adapting. It is changing to be better and more efficient at the things you ask it to do most often. You are a normal human being with a normal, healthy, adaptable brain. But you are living in an environment that is not normal. You are living in an environment that has been professionally engineered to steal your attention. Blaming yourself for having a short attention span today is like blaming someone for getting wet when they are standing in a heavy rainstorm. The system is designed to get you soaked. Understanding this is the first step. It is the most powerful step. It is the step that allows you to start taking back control. You are not the problem. The environment is the problem. And you have the power to change your relationship with that environment. You are powerful. I hope this topic is interesting for you. This battle for our brains is happening to all of us. If this idea resonates with you, if you want to learn more about how you can find your focus again in this noisy world, then please take a moment to subscribe to this channel or follow our podcast. We are here to explore the science of our minds in this modern life. We want to give you real, evidence-based ways to feel good and to thrive. When you subscribe, it helps our channel to grow. It helps us to reach more English learners all around the world, more friends like you. Thank you for your support. It truly means a lot. Section 4, the solution, reclaiming your deep thinking mind. Here's the best part of our story today. Here is the most hopeful and beautiful truth. The same power that got us into this situation is the same power that can get us out. And what is that power? Neuroplasticity, your brain's amazing ability to change. Neuroplasticity is just a tool. It is not good or bad. It is neutral. Your brain does not care if you are learning to become a master chess player or if you are learning to become a master at scrolling social media. It just builds the pathways. It makes you better at whatever you do again and again and again. This means you can be the boss. You can consciously, intentionally retrain your brain. You can choose to build new habits, good habits, healthy habits. You can be the architect of your own mind. An architect is someone who designs buildings. You can design your own mind. What a powerful, wonderful idea. This is not about throwing away all technology. It is not about moving to a cabin in the forest with no internet. No, thank you. It is about becoming an intentional user of technology. Intentional means you do things with a purpose. You are in control. You decide. It is about creating a safe, protected space for deep thinking. A quiet garden for your mind to grow. A space that the endless scrolling has pushed out of our lives. So, how can we do this? I'm going to share 4 practical strategies with you, 4 hacks for your brain. These are based on science, and they can help you fight back. You can do this. Here's the first one. Hack 1, the 20-minute deep dive. Reactivating the circuits. The best way to make your deep reading brain stronger is to use it. It is simple. Use it or lose it. But I know what you might be thinking. Anna, the idea of reading a book for 1 hour feels impossible. I can't do it. I understand, I really do. So we will not start with 1 hour. We will start small, very small. Here's the plan. First, choose a physical paper book. Not an ebook on a tablet or a phone, a real book made of paper. This is very important. Why? Because a paper book removes all the distractions of the digital world. There are no notifications, no messages, no temptation to open another app. It is just you and the book. Second, set a timer. Set it for just 20 minutes. That's it. Not 1 hour, just 20 minutes. Third, put your phone in another room. This is also very, very important. Do not just put it on silent mode. Do not just turn it face down on the table. Take it and put it in a different room. Why? Because studies show that just having your phone near you reduces your brain power. It reduces your cognitive capacity. Even if the phone is turned off. Your brain is still using a little bit of energy to not check the phone, so move it away. Give your brain a real break. Fourth, for those 20 minutes, just read. Your only job is to read the book. Now your mind will wander. It will get distracted. You will start thinking about dinner or your email or what your friend said yesterday. This is 100% normal. It will happen. When it happens, do not be angry with yourself. Do not judge yourself. Just be gentle. Be kind. Gently notice that your mind has wandered, and then gently guide it back to the words on the page. That's all. Think of this like physical therapy for your attention. If you hurt your leg, you do small, gentle exercises to make it strong again. This is the same thing, but for your mind. The first few times you do this, it might feel very difficult. It might feel like torture. Your brain has been trained to want new things all the time. It will scream for a distraction. It will say, check your phone just for 1 second. That feeling is withdrawal. It is the feeling of a weak neural pathway being forced to work. It is like lifting a weight that feels heavy. But if you continue, if you do this every day, something will happen. Those 20 minutes will start to feel shorter. It will start to feel easier. It might even start to feel enjoyable. You are literally rebuilding that old path in the forest of your mind. You are paving it again. Making this a daily habit is the single most powerful thing you can do to start. Just 20 minutes. You can do that. I believe in you. Hack 2. Practice monotasking. Declaring war on multitasking. The second step is to say goodbye to the myth of multitasking. It is time to declare war on it. To build a brain that is capable of deep work, you have to practice the opposite of multitasking. You have to practice monotasking, doing one thing at a time. This means you choose one task, and you give it your full attention for a block of time. 0 distractions. The most famous and effective method for this is called the Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro is the Italian word for tomato. The creator of this technique used a kitchen timer shaped like a tomato. It is a simple and fun method. Here is how it works. First, choose one task, only one. For example, write an important email or study English vocabulary. Second, set a timer for 25 minutes. Third, work on only that one task until the timer rings. This is the important part. During those 25 minutes, you do nothing else. No checking email, no looking at social media, no answering text messages. You are in a sacred, protected bubble of focus. Fourth, when the timer rings, you stop. You take a short break, about 5 minutes. And you should actually get up, stretch your body, look out the window, get a glass of water, give your brain a real rest. Fifth, after you have completed 4 of these 25-minute sessions, 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. This technique is so powerful because it respects how your brain works. It does not ask you to focus for 3 hours straight. That is too hard for most people. The short 25-minute sprints are manageable. They feel possible. And the breaks help you stay fresh. They prevent you from feeling tired and burned out. But the most important thing this technique does is this. It trains your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that is like the CEO. It makes decisions. It controls your impulses. By practicing the Pomodoro technique, you are strengthening your impulse control. You are lifting weights for your willpower. You are teaching your attention to listen to you, not to the next notification, not to the next algorithm. You are the boss of your attention. Let's move on to the third hack. Hack 3. Curate your inputs. Designing your information diet. Think about your food. You would not eat only junk food all day, every day, and expect to feel healthy and strong, right? You know that what you eat affects your body. Well, it is the same for your mind. What you consume with your mind affects your mental health. The information you let into your brain is your information diet. If you consume a diet of informational junk food, constant drama, anger, and distraction, you cannot expect to have a clear, calm, and focused mind. So to reclaim your brain, you must become a curator. A curator is someone in a museum who carefully chooses which art to show. You must become a ruthless curator of your information. You decide what comes in. Start with your phone, the biggest source of distraction. Go into your settings and turn off every single notification. Yes, every single one. Except for maybe phone calls and text messages from real people you know. But all the notifications from apps, turn them off. Notifications are the main weapon of the attention economy. They are designed to pull you out of your real life and pull you into their app. Right now. When you turn them off, you take back the power. You change from being reactive to being intentional. You are no longer a puppet on a string. You decide when you want to check Instagram. Instagram does not decide for you. This is a huge change. Next, curate your feeds. Go through the accounts you follow on social media. Unfollow any account that makes you feel angry or anxious or bad about yourself. Be ruthless. Protect your peace. Then do the opposite. Find and follow accounts that share good things, thoughtful ideas, long-form content, art, science, nature, things that feed your mind, not just trigger it. You can also use Read It Later apps. These are apps where you can save interesting articles you find online. Then you can set a specific time to read them. Maybe on a Sunday morning with a cup of coffee. You can treat them like a chapter in a magazine. This is much better than reading them in the middle of a busy day. Finally, schedule your shallow time. Scrolling on social media is not evil. It can be fun. It can be connecting. But it needs to be contained. It needs a fence around it. Instead of letting it bleed into every empty moment of your day in the line at the supermarket, the second you wake up, give it a specific time and place. For example, you can decide, I will scroll for 15 minutes after lunch. Or, I will check my feeds for 20 minutes in the evening. When you do this, you put a container around the distraction. It prevents the shallow, scrolling mindset from taking over your entire day. You are in charge. And now for our final hack. Hack 4. Metacognition on the screen, reading smarter. You will still need to read important things on a screen. For work, for study, for life. We cannot escape it completely. So the final hack is about changing how you read on a screen. It is about using a powerful tool called metacognition. Metacognition is a big word, but it means something simple. It means thinking about your thinking. It means being aware of how your mind is working. When you are reading on a screen, your brain's natural tendency is to skim, to go into that shallow, fast mode. You need to do things that force your brain to slow down. You need to force it to engage more deeply. You do this by becoming an active reader, not a passive one. How can you do this? Here are some ideas. Before you start reading an article, pause for a moment. Ask yourself a question. What do I want to learn from this piece of text? This sets an intention. It gives your brain a mission. While you are reading, pause after each section or a few paragraphs. Try to summarize the main point in one simple sentence. You can even say it out loud. This forces you to check if you really understood it. If you like to highlight things, be very selective. Don't just paint the whole page yellow. That is a passive action. Instead, choose only the most important, most critical phrase or sentence in a paragraph. This makes you think about what is truly important. And as you read, ask questions in your mind. Do I agree with this idea? What is the evidence for this claim? Is this a fact or an opinion? How does this connect to what I already know? all of these small actions do something very important. They break the normal automatic cycle of skimming and forgetting. They short-circuit that shallow pathway. They force your brain to use the deeper circuits, the circuits of analysis and evaluation and critical thought. It transforms reading from a passive act of just consuming words into an active conversation. A conversation between you and the text. This is how you can use a screen without letting the screen use you. You can stay in the driver's seat of your own mind. What a journey we have been on today. We traveled back in time to the clay tablets of ancient Sumeria, and we traveled to the glowing screens in our hands today. We saw how your amazing brain, in a moment of pure genius, hacked its own visual system. It learned to read. It unlocked the superpower of written language. And we saw how that incredible achievement, that miracle of reading, is now being challenged. It is under threat from a new kind of hack, a rewiring of our minds towards shallow, distracted, and reactive thinking. But my friend, the story does not have to end there. This is not a sad story. This is a hopeful story. The most important lesson from neuroscience is a lesson of hope. Your brain is always a work in progress. It is always under construction. The brain you have today is not the brain you must have tomorrow. Every choice you make is a vote. Every habit you build is a vote. You are casting a vote for the kind of mind you want to have. Remember my words, your brain is not broken. It is just being trained by the wrong things. But now you know. You understand the two systems inside your head, the ancient deep circuits of reading and the new shallow circuits of distraction. And with this knowledge, you can take back the controls. You are the pilot of your own mind. You can choose the 20-minute deep dive into a book over the infinite scroll. You can choose the focused calm of monotasking over the frazzled feeling of multitasking. You can choose to be the architect of your own beautiful mind. This battle between the deep brain and the shallow brain is a big struggle of our time, and it is fought in the small moments of our daily lives. It is fought in our daily habits. When you make these small, intentional choices, you are doing more than just improving your focus. You are doing more than just helping your English. You are casting a vote for a better world, a world with more depth, more nuance, more empathy, more critical thinking. You're honoring a 5,000-year-old miracle of the human mind, and you are building a brain that can be strong and calm and happy in this modern world. The power to do this is not outside of you. It is not in an app or a product. The power to change your mind has always been and always will be right inside your head. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me today. It was an honor to talk with you. Remember to be kind to yourself. Change takes time. Learning takes time. Just take it one small step at a time. One day at a time. You are doing wonderfully. If you have any thoughts about today's episode, please feel free to leave a comment. And if you enjoyed our time together, a like or a follow is always deeply appreciated. Take good care of yourself and your wonderful brain. See you next time, my friend.